welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Everybody, and welcome back to Live Penguin TV. We are so excited to be able to bring the smallest species of penguins to you in your very own homes, at school, at work, or wherever you may be. So I hope everybody is ready for a fun penguiny night of fun. It is nearly time for those penguins to start making their way across the beach from the ocean, doing their dangerous dash. In fact, we'll probably be able to see some very, very shortly. And the penguins are thinking about making their way back to their very own burrows in the penguin colony here on Phillip Island in Victoria, Australia. My name is Jordan. I am your host tonight, and I am a ranger here at the Penguin Parade. And tonight we are going to be having 20 to 30 minutes of penguin fun. I'm going to be telling you lots of fun facts and stories about penguins. I'm trying to answer a few of your questions as well. So sit back, relax, grab a coffee, a cup of tea, or a wine, depending on how old you are and what time it is wherever you may be watching. But a big warm welcome, and I hope you're excited to see some little penguins. They definitely put smiles on our faces, and that's what we're all about. Of course, we would love to have you here with us, but Live Penguin TV is back so that we can bring the penguins to you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Now, I also have Ranger Stephen joining me tonight. Stephen, come on in, say hello, and let us know what you're going to be doing tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to be on Facebook and on YouTube, so if you have any questions, send them through in the chat. I'll be reading them, and if you have any difficult questions, I'll try and pass them on to Jordan, see if we can stump her tonight.
Love lots of questions. So in the comments of Facebook and YouTube, please, anything that you want to know throughout the night. I want to know what you want to know. I will probably talk for 3 hours if you let me. So send those questions through and I'll do my best to answer a few of them live on the air. So you might have seen there were some penguins just on top of me. They arrived a little bit earlier than we decided to go live tonight. So let us now jump and have a look, scan on the beach and see if we can spot these little penguins. So here on Phillip Island, we have a species of penguin called the little penguin. They are the smallest, and in our opinion, they are the cutest. Oh, I think I've just spotted some doing their dangerous dash across the beach, and oh my goodness, look at all of them on the rocks. They are out in force tonight. They must know you're all watching, and they have come to welcome you home. So again, I hope you all have a big smile on your face. These penguins are so cute, and they have made their way home. And that is a fairly large number of penguins that have crossed the beach nice and early. And I should probably explain why the penguins are actually coming home at this time of night. And the penguins they're pretty punctual, they're pretty reliable. They know that as soon as the sun sets, as soon as it gets dark enough, they can start crossing the beach and coming back to their burrows, because these guys, they're only about 33 centimeters or 1 foot tall, so maybe about the size of my head, and they're not very good at fending off any predators. So they want to cross the beach and come back home under the cover of darkness. And what these penguins would have been doing, it looks like we have a Cape Barren goose, so just a bit of a penguin neighbor. Hello there, friends. Look at them going on their way home. I might just, jump back up to the ones hanging out on the rocks. They've been busy chatting to each other, wording each other up out in the ocean. And the way they do that is by making a sound called a huck. And it sounds like huck, 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 huck. Stephen, come on. Huck, 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 huck. That's the penguin saying, is it dark enough? Is there anybody else out there? Oh, it looks like we have some penguins on our penguin highway. Let's check out these guys. This is one of the most popular penguin pathways that the penguins use to come home, because just like us, they've got their own burrow. They know exactly where to go, and they are heading back to their burrows. Oh, and it looks like we already have some fresh penguin poop. And I'm just going to jump back to the main stand here. They've been busy chatting away, trying to get as many of them together out in the ocean as possible, so that when they cross the beach, because it is the scariest time of day for these little penguins, they want to have lots of friends with them, because safety in numbers, and it's a very scary time to make their way back. Now, also, Stephen, every single night we are counting penguins crossing the beach, and we've been doing that nearly every single night since 1968. And for those regular viewers out there, you might be wondering how many penguins we had crossing the beach last night. And I believe Stephen has the magic number.
I sure do. And I had quite a few questions. People have been wondering what the numbers have been this last week.
Oh, okay.
So I can give you a bit of an update. Last night we had 738 penguins cross the beach.
738?
That's how many we had last night. And we've been hovering around those numbers for the last week or so. Sometimes dropping down to about 500, sometimes jumping up to about 800.
So Stephen, why do penguin numbers change?
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm going to ask you a question.
I'm going to come over and answer. I love this. So why do our penguin numbers change? It's because our penguins can sleep on the ocean. They might spend more than a single day out there. They head into the water in the morning, but if they're not catching enough food or enough fish, they're going to be maybe spending a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week.
2, 3 weeks?
2 to 3 weeks, a month on the ocean. They're not going to come back until they've had enough food in their bellies. And because they are spending more than a single night out there, the numbers do change quite drastically from night to night.
Yep, so I think the most amount of penguins we've ever seen crossing the beach was 4,398 penguins, and that was in the height of the breeding season, when mum and dad penguins are going out every single morning and coming back pretty much every night to come home and feed their hungry little chickies. But I think the least amount of penguins we've ever had was about 8. And it was on a night where we had some very, very dense sea fog, and we actually had a very similar night like that, quite recently.
A month ago now?
About a month ago, there was a really, really dense sea fog. So penguins use their eyesight to be able to get home. They go, I go right at the rock, I go left at the tree, over the hill. So they know exactly where they're going. But because there was such dense fog, only 28 penguins crossed the beach in 50 minutes of counting them. So 50 minutes is how how many minutes we count penguins for every single night. And I believe Tom is our penguin counter.
Tom is our penguin counter tonight.
And fun fact about Tom as well, I believe it was actually Tom that counted the highest number of penguins that crossed the beach as well. So he's a seasoned veteran at counting penguin numbers. And if we're lucky, we might be able to know how many penguins are kind of crossing in each group. Or when penguins are on land, we like to call them a waddle of penguins. Technically, it's called a group, but we think a waddle is much cuter and much more descriptive. So do we have any numbers for how many penguins have been crossing the beach so far tonight, Stephen?
I haven't actually radioed Tom to ask, but the first group that did come through, we saw them walking across the highway before we jumped to the beach, was about 86 in that first group.
86, excellent. Well, what do you guys reckon? I reckon there might be about 50 or so in this current view that we're looking at. But they will continue to come in throughout the 50 minutes, and Tom will be diligently counting them with a pair of binoculars, going 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 penguins. But yeah, we stopped counting after 50 minutes because we've been counting penguins nearly every single night since 1968 the same way. So we want to keep our study consistent, but penguins can take up to 3 hours to get home for all of them to come out of the ocean and make their way back home. And penguins are only coming home if they've got things to do or places to be, because effectively when they're on land, they're on a diet. They're pescatarian, they only eat seafood, so pilchards, anchovies, any small fish, squid, jellyfish, any yummy thing that's about this big that they can swallow whole. But now these guys are on land, heading back to their burrows, which might be, they might have a beautiful beachside resident, these guys, or they might have to go nearly 2 kilometers inland. So it all just depends on where their parents raised them. Now, this is another little popular pathway that we get to follow them heading up the hill. I might zoom out just a touch. You can see that they are marching on home, and it might be a little bit tricky to tell from this frame just here, but it's a very steep hill, Stephen, isn't it? I don't know if you've ever had to make the trek before, but it's quite tricky. And I thought I might just jump across to the Penguin Highway so we can again get another kind of view on these guys. It's always fun watching them from behind. We'll see if we can follow this guy walking along now. Now, Stephen, I did promise that we would, too quick for me. I did promise that we would be answering a few different questions. Look at them heading up the Penguin Highway. Look at all of them. Welcome home, everybody. Look at those cute little waddly bottoms. So yes, let's have a question from our audience. So who's watching?
Well, we got plenty of questions to go through, but I think one of the common ones I'm seeing is, I saw Beck asking this one, is when is the breeding season and do we have any babies right now?
When is the breeding season? So, it looks like I'm going to pause that question. Sorry, Stephen. Just wanted to introduce you to another penguin neighbour who we might see hopping around tonight. This guy over here is a swamp wallaby, so we don't have any kangaroos on Phillip Island, just these guys. It's like the little cousin of a kangaroo. They're a little bit smaller, a bit darker brown, and very cute as well. So the breeding season, a great question. There is no kind of set time for when the penguins are getting ready to breed. Normally it kind of starts late August, early September, but this year as well as last year, the penguins have kind of been feeling the love. They're feeling the love a little bit early. They're taking advantage of some good conditions. There's still a fair bit of food around. It's cold for us, but it's not too cold for these little penguins. So we might be lucky enough to see some courting behavior or some special penguin cuddles tonight, everybody. So we will definitely keep an eye out for that. There's been lots of calling going on in the colony, Stephen. There's been lots of kind of territorial displays, lots of pairs in the colony chatting to each other, and there's a common misconception about penguins, and especially these penguins. A lot of people think that they mate for life. I am so sorry to burst anybody's bubble, but these penguins like to have lots of different boyfriends and girlfriends. So typically they will pair up with the same breeding partner year after year, but they do get divorced. And sometimes if they have a slightly longer waddle back to their burrow, they're less supervised. So they might be able to visit some of their secret boyfriends and girlfriends on the way home as well.
I like to say that our penguins they do mate for life. They just like to mate with lots of different penguins.
Yeah, I love it. Great work. Oh, and now it looks like they have made it to the safety over these rocks. So when we saw them crossing the beach, they were doing their dangerous dash, trying to get across the beach as quickly as possible, where they're quite exposed, but as soon as they get onto these rocks, they know they're nice and safe, because those dark rocks blend in, their feathers blend in very, very well with those rocks. But getting back to the second part of your question, you'll notice that this is going to be a little bit of a theme throughout the night for me. I will get very distracted by penguins. I threaten it, it will happen. So no, there are no babies in the colony just yet, but again, lots of pairs, lots of courting, so I reckon it won't be too long until we might have some eggs, and then even some little baby penguin chicks as well, which will be very, very exciting.
And when they have babies, how many do they have?
How many do they have? So yeah, Stephen, they lay 2 eggs at once. Both mum and dad do take it in turns, caring for the young, which is very good. You know, penguins believe in equality, which is absolutely fantastic. They both take it in turns, sitting on those eggs and heading out into the ocean, and coming back and feeding their young as well. So if there's plenty of food around, there will be 2 very fat, fluffy chicks come, what do you reckon, November, December-ish time, Stephen? Sometimes some penguins are very, very keen and they do want to start early. But yeah, most of the breeding, we'll kind of get chicks mostly through November, December and January, I'd say. And it looks like these guys are going to head under the boardwalk now. It is now our job to go find some more penguins. I can see some on the Penguin Highway just above us now. I might just check out the beach to see if we can see anybody. It doesn't look like it just yet, so we might turn our cameras back into the penguin colony. Oh, in fact, talking about breeding, Stephen, I wonder if down here I've spotted 2 penguins, and it's very hard to tell just by looking at them, but you can see how they're nice and close together. These could be, they could be husband and wife. They could have been, oh, that one's having a bit of a stretch. We're showing off. Look how big and beautiful I am. Oh, they're both showing off now. Oh, and you can actually see they're calling. You can see their chests moving. And when penguins are showing off, they make a sound like this. Oh, now we're doing a little bit of feather maintenance. They go, and they're saying, I'm the most beautiful penguin, come over to me, this is my house, I'm so big and beautiful and strong. Or it might be, this is my house, you stay away, I am the boss of this territory over here. So those 2 penguins that we saw just over there, it's possible that they could be breeding partners, or it could be a secret little love affair. We may never know, but I might let you choose your own story for that one. Alrighty, it looks like most of the penguins that have crossed the beach have dispersed into the colony. There's still a few hanging around. There's a few waddling up the Penguin Highway there as well. But yeah, we are so lucky here on Phillip Island to have the largest colony of the littlest species of penguin in the world, Eudiptula minor, the little penguin. And we look after these penguins here at Phillip Island Nature Parks here on Phillip Island through people coming to visit us. So we are a visitor funded organisation, so people coming to the Penguin Parade, the Koala Conservation Reserve, Churchill Island Heritage Farm and the Nobbies, any souvenirs, tours, tickets, anything like that that you buy goes directly back into us helping to protect penguins, koalas, seals, eastern bar bandicoots and a whole range of other animals. And if we were to talk about all of those animals tonight, Stephen, we would literally be here all night. But if you would like to learn a little bit more about the work that we do and about the other animals that we are helping to protect here on Phillip Island, and you are going to disappear on me, I think we're feeling a little bit camera shy. Let's maybe have a look into the colony, see if we can see anybody there. No, all quiet on that front. Maybe we'll head back to the beach. And oh, I've just spotted a nice big raft of penguins that has turned into a waddle of penguins. Let me zoom in on them. But Sorry, I told you I would be getting very distracted. If you would like to learn a little bit more about what we do have a podcast called Nature Unfiltered, and each episode we do focus on a different element of what we do here at Phillip Island Nature Park. So please do check us out wherever you get your podcasts, or you can also jump onto the Nature Park's website and listen to our podcast there. You'll hear myself and a few others chatting away, having a great time as we do. Alrighty, it looks like we've got a nice little waddle starting to cross the beach over here. They are marching their way home, trying to make a beeline, getting across that beach so that they can head back to their burrows. Good on you, little guys. It's a long way. We have a very low tide tonight, Stephen. I'm not sure if you guys at home can tell, but sometimes the waves are crashing in right up close to where these penguins are now, but they've got a little bit of a sprint on the way home. They might be setting some new records for the Penguin Olympics. Who knows? Looks like they're going to disappear behind the bushes soon. But I reckon it might be time for another question from our audience, Stephen. What do you reckon?
Well, this one's been asked a few times, and people are wondering when they can come back to see the penguins.
When you can come back to see the penguins. Of course, we would love to have you right now to come and see the penguins. And a lot of people have been doing it tough, staying at home. So again, that's why we're so excited to be able to bring you live Penguin TV. But I believe we're opening back up on Saturday. Is that right, Stephen?
That is correct.
Excellent. So if you live in Victoria, if you're nearby, come and say hello to us and come and get your fun dose of penguins for the evening. We would absolutely love to see you. And for those of you who are interstate or overseas, fingers crossed we can welcome you back very, very shortly, because although we love being able to bring penguins to you in your very own homes, in your workplaces, in your schools, we would much rather see you here as well. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. And when you do get to come by, don't forget to say a friendly huck to us if you see us in the building. We're always happy to welcome you and have a bit of a chat.
Yes, we do like our penguin impressions here at the Penguin Parade. We're all kind of penguin nerds here, so we appreciate it when people try to talk penguin to us. All right, hello friends. So these guys have officially made it across the beach. They are back home and they can start to relax a little bit more now. Thank goodness. Those poor little tired, looks like we've got a wallaby having a bit of a drink from the creek there as well. The wallaby, they're vegetarian. They're not going to hurt the penguins. Just having a little bit of a look on the way. You can see they're not fussed by each other, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I also mentioned that we have the largest colony of the smallest species of penguins here in the world on Phillip Island. And I would just like to acknowledge the way in which the Bunurong have cared for this country over many, many thousands of years. So, of course, we all know of Phillip Island. You're watching penguins coming home here on Phillip Island, but this island is also known by another name, and that is Milau. And Milau is the name given by the Bunurong, who are the traditional custodians of this land here on Phillip Island. And our records show they've been coming over to Milau for many, many thousands of years, living peacefully and sustainably with species like the penguins and in these beautiful landscapes. So we acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. And I would love in the comments if you could tell us first of all where you're from, but I would love to know if you know who the traditional custodians or the traditional owners are from the lands that you're watching us as well. So thank you very much in advance for letting us know, guys. Now, I might just switch back to the Penguin Highway because look at them all racing along. And we do call this the Penguin Highway because it's a fairly kind of open stretch, and the penguins do tend to go their top speed as they're making their way home. And as a highway suggests, penguins, they know the kind of the exit to their highway where their burrow might be. They go, yep, this is my stop, and the rest of them will keep on going, but they like to have safety in numbers. They like to have as many friends with them as possible, because also when they're out in the ocean, they're usually fishing solo. They're all by themselves, so coming on land, this is their chance to socialize. It's their chance to, how's your day going? Did you get chased by any leopard seals today? I don't know, I'm totally making that up. But these are some of the conversations that I assume penguins are having when they come back home. But yeah, when they get home, I wonder if they're a little bit, what am I saying? I'm trying to find penguins and talk at the same time, but it's not happening. Hello, friends. It looks like we've got some more penguins crossing the beach, and Stephen wants to say something. What's going on?
Well, just keep asking questions.
Yes. Keep them
People
coming.
were really curious to wondering how they can get more involved beyond just watching the penguins, coming in to be a spectator. They wanted to know what else they can do to help support these penguins.
Oh my gosh, how long have you guys got? Gosh, there's tons and tons of things that you can do. First of all, come and visit us when it's safe to do so, because by coming along, you are helping us to protect penguins. But doing simple things like reducing how much plastic that you're using. I'm sure we've probably all heard stories about seabirds and various ocean creatures getting caught in plastic and marine entanglements. So if everyone's wearing a mask at the moment, if you've got a reusable mask, then your disposable masks aren't going to make their way out into the ocean accidentally. And if you do have anything that is going to form a loop, if you can just cut them, then that's going to make sure that nothing is going around their head and is going to hurt them. And for anyone who might have been watching Live Penguin TV a couple of months ago, you might have even seen, I think it was myself, I was able to rescue a penguin that had an entanglement around its neck. So a lot of the penguins that come up here are really fat, really healthy, but occasionally they do come home with a little bit, they might be a little bit injured, or they might have an entanglement. So we do have a little penguin hospital here at the Penguin Parade where we look after penguins. And if you would like us to help us protect and rehabilitate penguins and go along to help us with ongoing research so that we can answer all of these wonderful questions that you guys have about penguins, you can also donate to the Penguin Foundation, and the link is in the description below. You can adopt a penguin, you can become a penguin pal, you can make a donation, any little bit counts. And yeah, that one of the really awesome things that the Penguin Foundation does is fund our little penguin hospital so we can look after sick and injured penguins, wallabies and other native species as well. So again, I could tell you lots and lots of other ways that you could help protect these little penguins, but again, I will be here all night. So how's that for an answer, Stephen?
It's a great answer.
Great
I think
answer.
You covered a lot of bases there.
Fantastic, excellent. So now we are watching this one lonely little penguin, and I wonder if it's just waiting for some friends. Oh, having a bit of a yawn. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. So even though it is nice and dark now, even though these penguins are pretty sure that there's no predatory birds around anymore, they might still be a little bit nervous because there's still a teeny tiny little bit of light in the sky. But he's not too worried. He's going to keep on going. That's a strong, independent penguin right there that we can see. Good on you. Although it's looking back, I wonder if it can hear something. What do you think it might be able to hear, Stephen?
In the colony, there'll be lots of penguin sounds happening, lots of penguins calling out to each other. There might be a boy penguin waiting at home, trying to attract a female into his house. There might be a girl waiting at home, trying to attract a boy. Mm-hmm. Might have been a bit of squabbling as well.
Yes, so because there is a little bit of love in the air, there might be a few lovers' spats or a few kind of love triangles around the place as well. So you'll have to keep an eye out for that as well. So this little guy looks like he's pretty safe and comfortable hanging out just here. I might just pan out over to the beach one last time before it gets, there's another one, before it gets too dark. Oh, it looks like I can see a couple slowly starting to spread out along the beach. Oh yeah, they're spreading out now. As it gets darker, they're kind of less stressed about getting spotted by swamp harriers, sea eagles, Pacific gulls, white-bellied sea eagles, wedge-tailed eagles, peregrine falcons, any big raptor predatory bird that would love to munch on a penguin. They've pretty much all gone to bed now because those predatory birds, they rely on their eyesight to be able to see their prey. So that's why the penguins know that they are quite safe to come home under the cover of darkness. It looks like there's a few kind of waiting at the water's edge, probably saying, "Huck, huck, huck, Barry, where are you? Huck, huck, Larry." I don't know why I'm choosing Barry and Larry, but they're here. So these guys look like they're just gonna kind of compose themselves. I wonder if they're gonna form a nice tight little waddle and then slowly start making their way across the beach together.
Now, do we commonly get more boy or girl penguins, or?
Crossing the beach? Sure. It's around about 50-50. You know what, Stephen? I don't actually think I've been directly asked that question before. So I don't have a full scientific answer for you, but I guess just like humans, it's about 50-50 boys and girls. Come on camera, it is getting a little bit darker, so harder to see, but there they go. So yeah, about 50-50, and it can be really tricky to tell the difference between males and female penguins because it all depends on their beak size. So the males have a slightly thicker beak with a more defined hook on the end, whereas the females are slightly slimmer and more pointy. But sometimes males have a slightly more feminine beak, and sometimes the females have a slightly more masculine beak. So we've got a special little tool which goes over the widest part of their beak that tells us if it's over 13.3 mil, it's a boy. Under 13.3, it's a girl. And if it's on that mark, we want to check to see what their partner is. We don't have any evidence of same-sex couple penguins in the colony as yet, although that would be awesome. But yeah, we can usually determine their sex based on who they're partnered up with, or we wait to see if they lay an egg, which is also lots of fun as well. So I reckon I can quite easily count these number of penguins crossing the beach. My guess is 6. What do you reckon, Stephen?
It's good. You've done well on your penguin counting training.
Excellent. Well, actually, that's one thing. If you have been watching live Penguin TV from the very start, in between now and then, I got trained on penguin counting, and let me tell you, it is a tough, tricky job, especially when there's groups of over 200 coming in at one time. So it's a very, very tough job, but we like to count those penguins and update those numbers every single night.
Now, some of our regular viewers have been wondering what happened with Bluey.
What happened with Bluey? Oh, very good question. So for our regular Waddle watchers out there, the group of people who are our penguin enthusiasts and our regular tuna-inners, we actually have a live burrow camera, which is active now, but I don't believe there's actually anyone in the burrow just yet. But over the last breeding season, 2 penguin parents raised a very incredibly fat little chick who our community named Bluey, because they are the little blue penguins. They have blue feathers on their back. So Bluey's, oh, that one just went for a little bit of a splash in the puddle just there. So juvenile penguins, when they fledge after only about 7 to 11 weeks, they head out into the ocean for the very first time. Mum and Dad don't show them what to fish, where to fish, how to fish, or anything like that. So the little penguin chicks have to learn it all for themselves. And penguin chicks spend about the first year of their life out in the ocean. So it hasn't been a full year for Bluey just yet, but what he or she, we're not sure just yet, he or she was too young to tell, will be out in the ocean learning to fish, diving over 1,000 times a day, gorging him or herself on 250 grams of seafood every single day. And when Bluey is ready to have some little penguin chicks of its own, then Bluey will head back into the colony, into a similar area to where Mum and Dad raised it, and have some little babies of Bluey's own, which is very exciting. So yeah, we don't know where Bluey is. We're wishing him all the best of luck out there, and hopefully we'll be able to see Bluey soon. Bluey does have a little microchip, and we do have researchers that check our study sites once every 2 weeks to see if there is, to see who's home. So once Bluey is detected on our microchip scanner, then we'll know kind of how well Bluey did. And I'm sure he or she was a very fat little chick by the time Bluey fledged. So I have full faith in that little one. Now, Stephen has just alerted me to some very sad news. And what is that, Stephen? You're going to burst my bubble.
We've got about 5 minutes left, so if you have any last questions, please send them through. And I do have one question from Joshua, who is 6 years old.
Yeah?
He's curious to know if all penguins swim.
Oh, Joshua, what a great question. So great question. As I said, they definitely do all swim, and they can swim up to 12.5 kilometers per hour. And fun Olympic fact, which is faster than the fastest Olympic swimmer. So because they eat seafood, they only eat food when they're out in the ocean. They have to be able to dive, swim, duck, and find little fish and squid, anchovies, anything kind of little. And fish can swim pretty quickly. I'm not sure if anyone's ever been fishing or tried to catch a fish before. before, but it can be very tricky. And these penguins are master fishers. So yeah, really great question, Joshua. Yes, they all do swim.
And the penguin Olympic team is not that great. They're always going for the bronze medal.
Did everyone hear that? Stephen is great at telling jokes, and I think we're on, Olympic flavored jokes. So I'm going to laugh for you, Stephen. Ha ha, very funny, but I reckon you can do better.
I think you're the first person who's laughed at that joke.
Oh, no. I do love bad dad jokes, and Stephen is 100% the best of them. Stephen is actually going to be in my seat tomorrow. Oh, looks like, actually, no, I'm going to change over to our Penguin Highway because it looks like we've got a few friends just waddling their way up just now. So yeah, he will be in this chair tomorrow chatting to you all things penguin, and I'm sure he's going to have a boatload of penguin and Olympic related jokes for you. So pressure is on Stephen. Oh, that penguin's looking at us there, and you can actually see the beautiful blue feathers on their back as well that help them camouflage against the surface of the water so that anything flying above during the day can't actually spot them. All right, Stephen, I reckon we might have time for maybe one more question before we head off for the night. I hope you've all... Oh, what's going on there? It looks like someone's got a fright. Oh, and there's a rabbit hopping up the highway. That's probably what would have given them a little bit of a fright, even though the rabbit isn't going to harm the penguins in any way. Anything that kind of rushes toward them might be a little bit scary. So maybe let's jump back to the beach for the very last time. And yeah, as I said, we'll have one more question.
Well, this one's from Riley, who is 8 years old, and she's wondering, how far do penguins swim?
How far do penguins swim? Great question, Riley. And you know what? I can actually answer that question for you because last year I was lucky enough to actually be able to help track penguins out in the field. So when penguins have their eggs and when they've got their little chickies, we want to know where mum and dad are swimming to find their food. And penguins, because they can spend upwards of 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks out in the ocean, they can swim a very, very long way. And we had one mama penguin last year who was sitting on eggs while her partner was at home. He was sitting on those little eggs, keeping them nice and warm. She swam over halfway from Phillip Island to Tasmania. Isn't that an incredible feat for such a teeny tiny little bird? And we've even found a penguin from this colony nearly at the Victorian South Australian border, a couple of 100 kilometres away, which is incredible for a bird that's only about this tall. So yeah, really, really great question, Riley. Thank you for that one. Alrighty, so while we look at these beautiful little penguins, I might see if I can zoom in on them, although I know as soon as I zoom in on them, they're probably going to leave. Oh, it looks like there's a few still crossing the beach on the kind of top left-hand screen as we speak. They are going to keep continuing to cross the beach tonight, everybody, but it is now time for us to say goodbye to these cute, feathery little friends. We are going to be running this live stream every single night for 2 weeks, so make sure you tune in, same time, same place tomorrow. Keep asking those questions. There have been so many people tuning in to watch these little penguins make their way home here on Live Penguin TV. I'm so sorry that we can't get to every single one of them, but keep tuning in, keep asking those questions, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as possible. Again, we're looking forward to having you back really, really soon, everybody. On Saturday, that's when we are officially opening here at the Penguin Parade again. So really looking forward to seeing some happy faces. But if you are at home, if you're interstate or overseas, hope you're staying really safe, and we hope that these little penguins have brought a smile to your face here on Live Penguin TV. So again, same time, same place tomorrow if you want your nightly penguin fix. Remember, if you want to help us to protect these little penguins, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation by adopting a penguin and making sure that these guys are able to get home nice and safe and sound. And again, if you want to learn a little bit more about what we do as well, you can tune in to our Nature Unfiltered podcast, which is a lot of fun as well. Alrighty, I think that's pretty much everything, Stephen. Nothing I've left out?
Nothing tonight. I think you've covered everything and then some.
Excellent, very good. All right, well, we will see you tomorrow, and there is a little bit of a tradition that we do every single night before we sign off, everybody, and that is to say goodbye in penguin language. So do you remember Earlier in Live Penguin TV tonight, we were talking about the huck that penguins say when they're out at sea. We are going to say goodbye using that very same language. So Stephen, come in and say goodbye to everyone. And again, we will see you tomorrow. Bye everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Huck, 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 huck.